welcome in to Spiritual Roots Podcast with me, Misty. I have a guest today, Chelle. A little bit about Chelle. Chelle grew up in Enfield, New Hampshire. She graduated from Mascoma in 2000, moved all around trying to figure out where she belonged. She got her massage therapy certification in 2008 when she was living in San Diego, California. She's always been an animal lover. She feels more connected with animals than to humans. Totally get that. She got her BA from Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado in 2019. She's currently living in Longmont, Colorado. She's self-employed as a massage therapist and animal communicator. She has 2 dogs and a partner of 7 years. She loves her life and loves Colorado. But she does miss her family who all live in New Hampshire and Vermont. She has 3 nieces and 1 nephew whom she hopes to influence in the best possible ways. And if she were going to market herself, she'd say animal communication services are done remotely and can speak with any creature on Earth and those who have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And I'll give you your website at the end. We'll go over all your socials at the end, wherever folks can connect with you. Do you want to open it up? Anything you want to add before we get started with questions?
No, I'm ready for questions.
Okay, you got it. All right. So, what spiritual roots brought you to where you are right now?
So this was a tricky question because I feel like there were a lot of spiritual roots and they don't always necessarily go chronologically
Yeah.
or linearly. So I'll start kind of chronologically and see how that goes. When I was a kid, I always felt connected to something spiritually. I always had intuition or inner knowing, whether I follow it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And always had a vivid imagination. And when I was a kid, I felt like nothing was off limits to me. I thought I could communicate with plants, the forest, animals, and I never really questioned my weirdness before the age of 12, but kind of right around that time, when I talked to other people about my experiences or interested, I got this sense that it wasn't okay, or I even was told like some of my interests were of the devil. So I was really interested in tarot and astrology, but I closed that door because I was afraid of being tortured in hell for eternity.
Man.
And if you've listened to episode 2, Danny is my sister. We grew up with a reasonable degree of freedom, I would say, in our early years, but there came this legalistic evangelical shift when we got into our teens that pretty much ended all freedom we had in the past. I always wanted to be good, and I relied upon the adults in my life to let me know what goodness was. But I got to a point where this religion we were in seemed to work on a punishment and reward basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like I was receiving any rewards, no matter how hard I tried. So I did my best as far as the church was concerned. And then I kind of figured, what's the point of being good if I'm just like only receiving the punishment for trying?
Yeah.
So I kind of went off the rails a little bit with drugs and alcohol. And then I think I was 21 when I had an opportunity to live with my aunt in California, which California was always like my absolute dream. I'd do anything to live there.
Well, it's beautiful, so I can see why.
So at that time, I was in the grocery line and I see this booklet about lucid dreaming, and I picked it up because I've been having nightmares about demons and the devil for years. And so that was a synchronous event that changed my life with that like simple little $2 booklet, I was able to teach myself lucid dreaming, and I put an end to my nightmares forever. I
How did
still
that
don't have
work
any
out? How
nightmares.
was like that a muscle that you had to work when you started to do that?
Yeah, it's like
The lucid
practice.
dreaming?
So yeah, you just have to kind of get in the habit or be able to recognize that the dream is a dream, and then you
Hmm.
can interact with it and control what happens.
I love that. I'm so fascinated with lucid dreaming. I can't do it fully myself. I know what the path is supposed to be, but I haven't got there yet. So that's fascinating that you can do that. Do you do that? Like, is that an intention that you set at night when you go to sleep? If there's like something that you're trying to work on or work with, is that something you do regularly? Is try to lucid dream, or how does that work for you?
Um,
It's interesting.
I think it's kind of a little bit automatic now. Like I don't really try to do it or
Okay.
practice it, but somehow, I guess from working on it in the past, I still am able to know if something, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I'm somehow conscious of the fact that I'm dreaming when I'm dreaming, but I don't necessarily try to control the events anymore. I watch it
Hmm.
like a movie.
Okay. Do you have like autonomy over yourself in your dream? Does that make sense? Like, if you say you wanted to, I don't know, walk through that door, do you have control like that where you could do that? Or do you just sit back and just let it play out? Does that make
Yeah, I
sense?
kind of sit back and let it play out, but I think if I wanted to, I think I could open a door. I know some things that I do are like I really love the like any kind of flying or like
Yeah.
floating sensation. So
Yeah.
if I have dreams like that, I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I want to do that again." And I'll like repeat the action if it's fun.
I love that. That's so awesome. So, I mean, basically, you're like traveling in your dream. I've done that. Like I've traveled with friends. I guess I have lucid
Mhm.
dreams where you have a little bit of control. But I love that. That's so fascinating. Thank you for sharing that part with me. Sorry, I went off topic a little. Continue. Go ahead.
No? So then in 2008, I went to massage school and there was an assembly and it was like all of the programs were there because it was like a trade school, so they had nursing and they had criminal justice and things like that. So it was everyone in the school in this room, and I was super uncomfortable and I felt like I couldn't stand to be in the room any longer. And I was sitting next to my friend, Ashley, and I told her that I had to get out. So she followed me and asked me what I was feeling. And I explained it to her, and she said, "You're picking up on everyone else's energy in the room, and it's overwhelming you." I was
Yeah.
like, "What? That's a thing? How do I not do that?" So she taught me about energetic boundaries and how to protect myself from absorbing collective feelings. And that was a huge turning point because that was really, I won't call it debilitating, but I would be like, say, I was in the grocery store with my basket of groceries, and if I was standing in line and it was taking too long or I got
Hmm.
overwhelmed, I would just leave my basket and leave. I
Wow.
would, I would just like
You were
have
that
to
in
leave.
tune. Like you were that
Yeah.
empathic. Wow, that's wild. Wow.
Um, so she helped me out a lot with understanding things that I had never really come in contact before, and she took me to like a spiritual bookstore, and so I got into tarot and astrology since I had always been so curious about that, and those two things are still like a guiding light for me. If I ever feel lost or stuck, I'll turn to those to get more clarity.
Yeah. Love it. Are
And
you? Sorry, go ahead. I was just
oh,
going
I
to
was
ask
just
about
gonna say,
astrology. I if I could touch on that for just a second. Tarot, I get, but astrology, I'm fascinated with. I'm not super great with astrology. Do you know more about astrology, or do you use it as like um, I guess as like a level, like on a surface level, or do you really like get into it?
I go through phases where I really get into it, uh, and particularly if I feel odd or
Mm-hmm.
out of sorts, I'll just be like, what is going on with my
Yeah.
astrology?
Yeah.
And I'll look it
Okay.
up, and I have enough like practice with it at this point that I can kind of look at the symbols and the connections and have a basic idea of what the influence is without having to look it up, which is
Oh,
really
that's
nice. But
awesome. Yes.
then, of course, you can always look it up if you want to get somebody else's take on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought a really good analogy, if I can remember how it goes, the planets are like the actors, and then the houses are like the stage that the actors are on,
Okay.
and then the signs are like the roles or the character traits that influence the planets.
Okay. I like that. That kind of makes it easier to understand. I use it on like a very surface level. Like I follow the moons. I know my big three, and that's how I use astrology. But I love that. Thank you. That's a very cool way to put it. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, that helped me. It helped me to think
Yeah.
of like, you know, the planets are named after gods,
Yes.
so it's easy to see them as an actual character because they have these traits of those gods. And then, the houses, they all mean something. So that's like the stage or where the planet is living or
Yeah.
passing through if it's like a transit. And then the signs are all related to planets that have, their different characteristics.
I love that so much. Yeah, like I can visualize it in my brain. So thank you. Like that's how I like to see things. That's perfect. So tell me more about the person that was helping you. The one that was
Oh,
helping you. Yeah.
yeah, Ashley, she was like my massage school bestie. We were like sitting in the front row, answering all the questions, and the instructor would be like, all right, let's give somebody else a chance to answer because you like know. So let's
You
just
were the
like,
Poindexters.
yeah, totally, totally. And it's so funny because she got pregnant when we were in massage school, and she had, if you've ever, spoken with a pregnant person, they get to a period where they get like the baby mush brain. It's like their brain
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work as well because all of their energy is going into making a human.
Yeah.
So, so she had the mush brain, and something that I would do on my tests is if I got a question wrong and I thought I should have gotten it right, I would like argue for my grade. And I would say, well, this is the reason I answered it that way because the question was worded this way and it made me think,
Yeah.
that's why I thought that. And a lot of times I would end up getting it right because I could explain, you know, why I thought it was right and it made sense to the
Yeah.
instructor. So
Smart.
she had gotten a question wrong, and she was like, help me do that thing that you do where you can like explain why I answered it that way. And I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, like that's really wrong. like, like your answer is really wrong. I can't help you make it right because it's just wrong.
There's no saving that one. That's too funny. But she came to you, and I love that. What So, if there's any, what were some obstacles that maybe you came upon, like when you started this journey that you're on now, that were unexpected?
So, I mean, the biggest one that I could think of, and maybe it's not unexpected, it's kind of obvious, but
Hmm.
fear,
Yeah.
you know, in the beginning, fear of being tormented by demons or going to hell, that'll really put you off
Yeah,
exploring a
absolutely.
subject.
What a
And,
polar opposite,
after
too.
I worked through that,
Hmm.
and decided I don't think that's of the devil, or they don't understand it, is why they think it's of the devil.
Yeah.
Even now, I still have like different fears. Like with the animal communication, I worry that it won't make sense to the person reading it, or it won't land, or like even worse, be offensive, or,
Hmm.
you know, I do it because I want to help people and animals. Um, I don't do it for money, really. And so the worst thing in my mind, I think, would be to be considered like a charlatan or a
Yeah.
phony, or like
Totally get that.
I'm just making this stuff up so I can take your money.
Yeah. Can you go a little bit more into the animal communication? Because when I saw that, because Danny's told me that you're an animal communicator, and I'm like, I need to hear more. What's your process with that? Like, how, let's start from how you realized you could do that, first of all. And then if you could go into the process of animal communication.
What's so funny is that I did it naturally for a long time. When I lived in San Diego, I was a scuba diver, and you can't talk underwater.
Right.
So I would like communicate with different creatures that I saw underwater. And one of my things that I hate about diving with certain people that aren't respectful of the ocean and
Hmm.
the animals and the reefs, and they just like touch everything.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be touching everything. Please stop. And so if I ever wanted to touch an animal, I would ask it in my
Yeah.
head if it was okay. And then I would get a feeling like yes or no. And collecting things too, like if I wanted to collect a shell, sometimes I would feel like it's okay to take this, and other times I would feel like it's not okay to take
Hmm.
this, like you need to leave it. So it was pretty natural at that time. And then I didn't start really actively practicing it until maybe this was 2 or 3 years ago. I would pet sit my friend's dog, and he was just like super anxious. And I thought, oh man, I really wish I could help him, or no, what's going on with him? And so I got this book from the library
Hmm.
called Learning Their Language by Marta Williams. And I read that, and I just kept practicing. And the hardest part is like trusting the messages and being
Hmm.
like, am I making this up?
Right. Yeah, discernment. It's hard
Yeah.
sometimes. Yes, I totally
Um,
understand.
but that's where the human feedback comes in, to kind of support or confirm the messages. Like with that particular dog, he was one of my practice ones, and so I told my friend he wants he wants these vegetables, but they look like they're vegetables that come out of a package. Like the carrots are like small and in cubes, and he just wants these vegetables added to his food. I don't know. And my friend was like, "Oh, those are the kind I have in my freezer. Like, I have those vegetables.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just, there's usually a theme where the animal will like repeat a thing that's really important to them. So one of my first practices was a pig, and his name is Ricky.
Ricky the
And
pig. I love it.
and so I was talking to him, and immediately he like stamps his little hoof down, and he goes, "I'm the boss." I was like, "Okay, you're the
Wow.
boss, whatever." And he ended the conversation that way too, and it would just keep coming up that he wanted to make sure that I knew he was the boss, and I was like, "Okay, I get it, I'll tell your person." And
Sassy.
so when I told her that, I type up my notes and I email him, and she was like, "We fight about that all the time because I tell him I'm the boss. You're not the
No.
boss." Yes.
No way. Oh my God, that is amazing. That is amazing. That is so awesome that you can communicate with them and then their human is part of it too and just can help confirm those things. That's incredible to me. What a great gift you have. That is so awesome.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. So, do people reach out to you via email? Do you send them back via email? Do they like give you their pets information or their animals information? Their four-legged
Yeah,
person?
usually I like to have the animal's name and a picture while I'm connecting with them. So I'll have the person send me that via email, and then they can, if they have any questions they want me to ask, they can send those too. And then I do my meditation and I write down our conversation, and then I send that back to the person as a PDF.
That's awesome. I may take you up on this, Shell. To speak with my
Yeah.
little doggy bandit, my boy. Um, I'll get with you after. But that sounds amazing and so helpful to people, especially if their four-legged people have passed and, maybe it wasn't planned. You know what I mean? I think that'd be very helpful for folks. I know I would love it. Um, Going back to the obstacles, I so relate to the fear portion. Um, just now, like before we went on, I was talking about how nervous I get before I'm interviewing people, and I'm the one asking questions. You know what I mean? But it's so true when you go to do a reading for anybody, there's always that fear and it never goes away. But people who, like I listen to other podcasts and it's always the same theme that everybody still gets nervous. So I think it's still a huge obstacle because we can get in our own mind about things. And then it's just us talking in our own head while we're trying to attach to whatever it is that we're trying to do a reading for. So I totally relate to that fear. I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially if they do this type of work where it's not always accepted in certain circles or certain environments. So that's totally valid. Were there any other?
Yeah, and
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that sometimes like you don't know what is gonna come through. You don't know what the
Yes,
message is gonna be, and so I
right.
try and just record it and not interpret it. Just be like,
Hmm.
this is what I saw, this is what I felt, you know, and let the person interpret it. Um, and then there are some times where I've gotten little bits of information like, ooh, like I don't know if I should tell them that. Like
Yeah,
that feels like I don't know how that's gonna be received. And so then I'll take it to another level and like ask the creator or whatever you believe, the divine source, is this something the person needs to know or should I leave it out, you know?
right. Keep it tight to my vest. Do we leave that or do we give it? Right. That's so hard too because the message comes through and you're like, well, this is what they're coming to me for, but at the same time, you don't want, to hurt that person. That could be a trigger of some kind for them. So that's always a hard choice to make. But you're right about that. Absolutely. Don't do no harm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, are there any books that have really, I know you mentioned one, and I'll put that in the show notes, but are there any other books that have really helped shape your path or really inspired you, or even podcasts that maybe you listen to?
Yeah, if you want to learn lucid dreaming, I go back to this book often. It's called Dream Yogas by Andrew Holisek.
Okay.
It has exercises and activities, and there's even like a best way to sleep to like fall asleep fast.
Really? Like a
Yeah.
position that you sleep in? Is that what he
Yeah,
means by that?
I think he calls it sleeping lion. So you lay on your right side and um you just kind of have your knees at like a comfortable angle and rest your arm on your body, and that's supposed to be the way to fall asleep quickly, because your right side is your energy side, your yang side. So you're suppressing that. If you lay on that side, you're suppressing the energy
Interesting.
so that it's
Okay.
it's not active. And then you're opening up the yin side, which is like the resting, soft side.
Okay. Is that more like your receptive side? I know a lot of people say like your left side is your receptive side, but that's my dominant
Yeah.
hand, so it's like, okay. All right, that makes sense. That's very cool. All right, I'll check that out. Are there any others?
um, anything Carl Jung. I love Carl Jung.
Yeah.
So I just think he's a genius. And so anything by him.
All right. I'll put him up there. A lot of youngins out there, that's for sure. I think a lot of podcasts that I listen to, they bring him up quite a bit, so I'll definitely
Yeah,
put him in.
he's the one who came up with the shadow, basically.
Yes, that's right. Yep. Which is a whole nother can of worms to go down shadow
Oh,
work.
yeah,
That can
totally.
get wild real fast. Have you done any shadow work recently? I mean, you don't have to get too deep into it if you
Yeah,
don't want to, but do you
I
journal
don't
usually?
have it. I don't have it near me now, but I can give you the info on this shadow workbook that I got that I thought was really helpful.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I'll post it for people to
Yeah,
look into.
so that's a journal. It has prompts, it asks you questions.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, shadow work can get pretty tricky. I know I've done a lot of it over the years myself, and you hit some milestones if you really do work it. So it's a great tool. Well, that's a great segue. Are there any suggestions that you would give to someone who's wanting to deepen their spiritual path or their practices?
Yeah, I would say it's literally the word practice. Like, I think that's why it's called a spiritual practice, because it takes a lot of practice to build confidence in your abilities and to be able to trust the information that you're receiving is from outside yourself and it's not your own imagination. Um, and of course, learn how to develop strong energetic boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and protect yourself from psychic invasion or absorbing things that you don't want to. And I think that is a that's something that I can recognize in myself now, that if I feel kind of erratic, or if I feel that intense anxiety feeling and there's no apparent cause, if
Mm-hmm.
I just feel weird and there's no reason for it, um, a lot of times it's something that I have absorbed from somebody else. So then I have to like clear that out and reset my boundaries.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you want to, can you expand on like what would be something that you would do to kind of clear out that energy that you've absorbed from an outer source?
I really like selenite. I have
Okay.
this selenite bar and I'll just like rub myself all over with it because it's a stone that can absorb negative energies and it never needs to be cleansed. It's self-cleansing.
Okay. I love that. I think I see people do that with Reiki too. When they're like finishing up, I saw someone use a huge selenite wand. So that makes
Yeah.
sense. I love that.
Yeah, I like that. And, there's always the sage or Palo Santo you can do. And I know a lot of people do that before rituals or
Mm-hmm.
if they're in a group. Like I've had people sage me before, and I'm always like, oh, make sure you get under my armpits and
And the
the
feet.
butt, the bottoms
Yeah.
of my feet. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm like, get in all the little nooks and crannies. I don't want anything left
Absolutely.
behind.
Yes, I did that same thing. So before I got set up, I'd sage myself. You got to make sure you get under your feet and your back, right? Don't forget
Mm-hmm.
about that energy because it's sitting back there too. Where can people find you if they want to reach out for an animal communication or even massage if they're local to you? Do you do you practice at home? Like, is your massage therapy at home or do you have a studio? You tell me. Where can people find you?
I My website is rockymountainbodymagic.com, and you can book online, and my contact info is on there also. So you can get a massage that way or reach out about animal communication. And for massage, I have a room in my house that's my dedicated massage therapy room. So I work
Mm-hmm.
out of a home office and I also travel. So if people want to get a massage in their own home,
Okay.
I will go to people's houses.
Awesome. Do you have a limit of where you go, like a half hour away or a couple miles away? Do you have a radius?
Yeah, usually 40-minute drive is like my max.
Okay, good to know. All right, well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it
Thanks for
so much.
having me.
Yes. One last thing. Last, when I had Danny on, she had mentioned that you and her are going to get together. Can you spill the beans a little bit about what that's going to be about, just a smidge?
Oh yeah. So she's been practicing her tarot skills and she uh, is getting experience with Reiki now. And I think she's going to be practicing being able to do Reiki remotely, so not
Mm-hmm.
have to be um, in, you wouldn't have to be like at her place to be able to do it. So it's really exciting for me to have my sister and my bestie be getting into
Yeah.
all of these witchy things and tapping into her intuition and developing her abilities. And so I thought that we should have a website together because she's also kind of trying to transition into a different career.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought if we had a website together, we could put all of our services on there, our psychic services, and hopefully, I think she knows more about marketing, so she can, we'll just share the responsibilities, and
Yeah.
I've kind of got it, I kind of got it started going a little bit, but it's called Psychic Sisters, and there'll be a way for people to book online for tarot and animal communication. And I hopefully would also like to be able to offer astrology readings if that's if I feel confident enough. And I
Mm-hmm.
know the way that I want to do it. I don't know if I want to write it up or have a conversation with the person about it, but once I figure that out, I think I'll put that on there.
Awesome. This is so exciting. I'm so excited for the two of you. That's going to be so great. I can't wait until it's up and going.
Yeah.
So
I think
excited.
we're gonna be working on it in the beginning of October and try and keep it like super simple just so
Yeah.
it can be launched and
Yeah.
then we can complicate it later if we want.
Absolutely. There's always room to improve and grow. Always. Even when you get it to a point where you're like, I think we're cool. There's always going to be something. So I'm so happy for both of you. I'm proud of you both for getting out there together and collaborating. I think that's pure magic together in itself.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So
And
yeah.
I got to give you some props too because I've had two tarot readings from you and they were right on.
Oh,
So
thank you.
you've got the gift.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's my jam. I love to read, so thank you for shouting that out. I appreciate it. And for people who can find me, I am at Spiritual Roots Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Sun and Maid Charms on Instagram and Facebook also. And that's where you can book a reading with me, Misty. Well, thank you so
Highly
much.
recommend.
Thank you, Chelle. Oh, I'm blushing. No one can see that, but I really am. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for coming on and accepting my invitation. I love this so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.